Hi, folks, and welcome back. It's Jim from New Hampshire Card Hunters, and we've got some brand new video for you here. Tonight, we are going to be opening up first of all, opening up a product from MJ Holdings. It's called the Championship Tins. We got four of them for you, and we'll get into those in just a few minutes. Um, we're also going to be adding our normal what's on the docket section, which tonight we'll be talking about the hobby and how we think it's in decline. And we'll be focusing tonight on Fanatics for the most part and what their part is to play in this whole role. Now, it's going to be a five-part series, but this is the first part of a five-part series. So we'll be covering the influencers. We'll be covering in part two influencers. Part three will be the breakers. Part four will be the franchises, MLB, NBA, MLB, and the players unions. And finally, part five will be focusing on the collector. So stay tuned for that. That'll be in the middle segment. We're going to run two of these first. Then we're going to get into what's on the docket, and then we'll finish up with the final two of these. So welcome aboard. We'll get right into this in 1 second. We've got the First Lady of Baseball with us tonight, Michelle, and she'll be along for the ride. So should be a lot of fun. And without further ado, here we go. Hope everybody's having or had a good Thanksgiving, and hope you had plenty of turkey and met with the family and had a good time there. We were up north at Michelle's sisters. We had all the fixings up there: turkey, stuffing, potatoes, pies, you name it. It's a good time. All right, let's get into this first one here. I'm gonna move two of these over here. Set that one over there. And get things rolling here. Let's move that just a little bit over. So, what I should have done here is just kind of highlight what we've got. It's going to be a total of 4 packs, one first edition pack, 3 factory seal packs, and 1 bonus card. So we don't know what's going to be in here. We're hoping. I've seen some videos on this. Pack selection's been pretty good. Hopefully ours will be halfway decent. And we got these, the tins. They come. I think there's like 6 or 8 players. I've got 3 Altuves and a Shohei. So I guess Altuve wasn't very popular, but so what do we got here? Oh wow.
There's your card.
Yeah,
There's your bonus card.
there's our bonus card right here. Jose Altuve. It looks like, is this a rip card? Yep, this is an action. Look at that. Nice. So what these rip cards are, and I'm sure a lot of you guys out there are pretty familiar with them, is you can either, they're numbered cards, and this one's the 25. You can either keep this as is, or you can rip this card, and on the inside you have one of the following. It could be let's see, could be an exclusive mini base card, an exclusive image variation base card, an exclusive mini autograph card. So we're not going to tear this thing tonight, but somebody out there, if you're interested, all these cards, no matter what they are, including this card, we're giving away like we always do. You don't need to be a subscriber. You don't need to, get in a break or anything. We just give these things away. So if you're interested, leave us a comment. In the comment, put drawing, and we will, once we get 10 people that are interested in these products, next giveaway, then I'll do a little drawing, and we'll pick out winners. I'm assuming with this stuff here, with these four, there's only going to be one winner. So
Yeah, just give it
we'll
the
just
whole
give it.
10 and 10 and
Yeah,
all.
we'll send the whole thing out. All you got to do is have a
Okay,
PayPal
kaboom.
account and give us send us a 1 cent payment, just so we can get your address, your shipping address, mailing address, and we'll take care of the rest. Okay, so with that, here we go. So we got this. We got this Altuve card, which is a rip card. Nice. Let's see what we got for packs here. Let's see what we got here. All right, let's see. I'm going to adjust this down a little bit, just so we can have a little better angle on the cards. So we got a Bowman first edition. That's a good one. And we've got Topps 2023 Series 2. And we've got 2021 Topps Chrome Platinum Anniversary Edition and 2023 Topps Series 1. So let's we'll put these tins down here. Make some room here, banging around. All right, let's get into the first pack. Here we go. So we haven't been here. We've been gone for a while. We've been pretty busy doing a lot of stuff, but we have been watching baseball. And shout out to the Dodgers, who were able to beat Toronto. We weren't rooting for the Dodgers, but they did. They did win it. Rooting for the Toronto Blue Jays to win this. All right, let's see what we got here. First card out of the chute. Tatis Jr. And then let's spin them around a little bit here. We got Derek Hall, Matt Strom, Tommy Edman. Now a Dodger. Julio Rodriguez. That's a pretty good one. Rookie Cup. No, Cup card, excuse me. And Evan Lee, Rafael Iglesias, and Michael Chavis, and Michael Grove. And we got
All aces.
all aces. Max Fried.
Max Fried.
Not
Nice.
numbered, but that's a good one.
That's a cool card.
Yeah, these all aces cards are pretty nice. Yeah. And, they come numbered in black and I think red and gold. Gold's, I think, numbered at, I want to say 10, but maybe 50. I'm not sure. And, of course, we've got our old standby by, the stars of MLB, Luis Robert, followed by Chaz Chisholm. These landscapers, C.J. Abrams. And spin these one more time. We got Mitch Haniger, David McKinnon, and finally Marcelo Osuna. So we got the all aces there, but we got the rip card, which is real nice. I like that. That's a good opening salvo. Let's see what else we got in here. Do the let's do this platinum. See what we got in here. It's a good chance to get a numbered card, so we'll see. All right. We got Steve Rogers and Nolan Arenado, Raleigh Fingers, and Luke Voigt. So nothing there. Not much.
And those are all facsimile autos, right?
Yeah, they're just regular, yeah. Yep, facsimile autos. What we're looking for in there is color or, autographs. There are autographs in there. All right, let's dive into this 2023 Series 2. Nootbaar, Will Smith, MJ Melendez. And we got Garcia, Avisal Garcia. And we got Dre Jameson, followed by Zach Gallen and Adam Ottavino. Louis Varland, he pitched pretty well for Toronto in the series. Austin Riley and Emmanuel Rivera, Kyle Hashioka. I always get this guy's name mixed up. I mean, I've only watched him play for like the last, I don't know how many years he's been here. Anyway, Matt Walnish, Enrique Hernandez. And what we got here? What's this? Oh, wow. Nice black
Oh,
right here.
Stan Musial.
Beauty. Yeah. Look at that, folks. Nice Stan Musial right there. Nice black. And that is numbered to 299. We're going to have to put a sleeve on that in a second. And another all aces. Wow. This is a pretty good pack. Logan Webb. Not bad. We'll take that. 2 numbered cards already. I mean, you know, one of them was just a throw-in, but... And Gabby Marino. So, not bad in this first tin. Got one more pack here. Save the best for last.
The Bowman
Hobby
pack?
pack, yeah. I can get it open. There we go. So yeah, so the Dodgers were victorious, unfortunately. If you're a Dodgers fan, if you're a Dodgers fan, congratulations to all you folks out there. Let's see what we got here. We got Norwillian Cedeno, Peyton Graham, Henry Ramos, and Jose Peroza, followed by Michelle Deschon, Zach Geloff, and we got Khalil Watson. Is that numbered? No. And Wilbur Sanchez, followed by Leandro Arias, and finally Jonathan Mejia. So there's one down, and we'll get into a second one here in 1 second. Just wanna put this stand the man in a sleeve here. Get that bad boy all set up.
That's a nice one.
Yeah, it is nice. I mean, pulling a black is not that easy in retail. I will tell you that. I'll tell you. These lights are blinding. There we go. Put that over there. Those two. All right, let's open up another one of these. So yeah, folks, we've been hearing a lot of stuff about all these things going on in the hobby. We've been hearing about the show bidding. We've been hearing about Probstein, Rick Probstein going down with his snipe, and it's been pretty ugly. You know, we're going to talk about that at a later date. But I mean, it's like every time you turn around, there's something going on. Yeah. All right. Let's see what we got here. Oh my God! Another rip card. Look at this. I don't believe it. Look at that, folks. Another rip card. Holy cow! 2 of them. One in one in another.
There you go.
I guess these people should have probably taken the Otani tins, right? Because that's all that was left was 4 of them. But yeah, we were talking about Michelle and I were talking about Rick Probstein and that whole fiasco. Oh my God, what a nightmare! I mean, you know, I don't really know Rick. I don't really know him all that well, but I can tell you that he's in a world of hurt right now because he exposed people's information. He exposed emails, addresses, credit card information. I said, wow. I mean, and he hasn't even put out a statement yet. I mean, you're supposed to, like, if your security is breached, if your information is breached, you're supposed to get, some sort of a letter or a notice from, the affected parties. But apparently he hasn't done anything yet. So I don't know. He's probably lawyered up though. All right, so in this one we've got anyway, I just thought I'd mention that. Anyway, let's see. We got a 2023 Topps Chrome update series. That's pretty good. Take that. And look at this. Wow. 2024 Topps update. 2 good packs right there. And 2023 Series 1, which is not all that good, but pretty good rookies. And finally, 2023 Bowman First Edition. So yeah, here we go. All right, I'm gonna wait on that one. I'm gonna do this update one, Chrome update first. Man, it's pretty good packs. Pretty happy with that. Let's put in the old garbage can there. All right, so we got Jake Irvin And what do we got here? We got a blue.
Blue foil.
Yeah. Hobie Harris. Is it numbered? I believe so. Yes, it is. Look at that. To 150. So that's pretty good. That's a
That's a nice
fourth
one.
numbered card. Man, we are just absolutely killing it on these. You guys should run out and buy some more of these. Holy cow. I might have to.
Or leave a comment
And you can win
and
these.
you can win it for free.
Finally, Cooper
Well,
Hummel.
1 penny. 1 penny.
1 penny, right. Wow. So we got four numbered cards, 2 rip cards, which could turn into real big hits once the people open them up. We're not opening up.
Now, are you keeping these separate so that you'll know which one's going which tins, or and then
No, we'll just just put them in team bags, put them back in there so they'll be protected. Put them in a box, send them all out. They're all going out. It's only going out to one winner. So anyway, Samad Taylor. Whoop, look at this. AJ Puck. Nasim Nunez. Jeff Hoffman. We'll see if we get any luck in this pack. Young and Hungry. The Pods. 20-somethings. And we got Christian Scott. Keep slipping on my hand. Tim Meza. Leo Rivas. Jackson Holiday. Evan Carter.
now is that Jackson Holiday's rookie season last year?
Uh,
Or has he been around for a couple of years?
no, that's Holiday's rookie. Let's go back to that for a second. That's that's just that's Tim Meza, Rivas,
there he is.
Jackson Holiday. Yeah, no, that's his rookie. They got the three Jacksons: Jackson Churio, Jackson Holiday, and Merrill, right? And Evan Carter's rookie too. It's in there, which is a good one. So look at that. We got a bunch of the rookies: Colin Ray, William Contreras, Josh Naylor. Last but not least, stars of MLB, Adley Rutschman. We'll set sleeve up the rookies for you guys. Boom, boom. Get those in there. It's been pretty good. Sleeve those up in a second. All right, let's do the Topps 2023 Series 1. Try that out. See if we can strike gold. Thought we might do okay on that update pack. I mean, we did for rookies, but all right. What do we got here? We got Clayton Kershaw. So his last year was this year, so he just retired. Benintendi, Christian Javier, Tommy Pham. We got Bam Bam. Right? He's been everywhere.
He has. He's been around.
Herman Marquez. We got Vladimir Gutierrez, followed by Yoran Alvarez and Tony Gonsolin, Freddie Freeman, Abraham Toro. He was good for us. And yeah, we got let's see here, Julio Rodriguez, stars of MLB, and a few landscape cards. Cleveland Guardians. Keep wanting to call them the Indians because I've been doing that for decades. We got St. Louis Celebration and the leaders, the NL RBI leaders, Alonso Goldschmidt Lindor, followed by Josh Naylor and the boys at Cleveland. Finally, Mark Canha. And one more pack, then we'll swing into our on the docket segment before we get to the last two. Yeah, I mean, this whole show bidding thing has gotten out of hand. I mean, it's been going on forever. Let's just be honest about that. I mean, as long as I've been around eBay, and it's a long time, folks, there's been show bidding going on since the dawn of time. And, these guys that are doing it now with Probstein and P. Ryan and the rest of these guys, well, let's just say that it's old hat, and sometimes you just gotta pay attention to what's going on around you. Watch the bidding cycles. Stay away from these guys. Stay away from the big auctions and not participate. Because I don't go to any of the auction houses. I mean, and I know that a lot of them. I was looking today at the terms of service, and most of the auction houses don't allow their employees or staff, or associates to bid on cards. There are a few. Heritage is one, but this whole terms of service thing, um, without due respect to guys like Dr. Beckett, which he was saying in one of his videos that Sotheby's and Christie's and all of these so-called auction houses, allowed, let's say you had an item in that auction, you were allowed to bid on any item, for any amount, for any auction. And I just want to say that while, he may be right in that the terms of service may have allowed that, I would just say that, this isn't your today's auctions and bidding processes isn't your well, let's just say it isn't your father's or grandfather's auction sites. This isn't like the roaring 20s when you could when the New York Stock Exchange allowed insider trading and um, stock traders on the floor to run pool stock schemes where they would just bump the price between five, six, seven people and then pull the rug out of investors. That's not legal anymore. And as a matter of fact, you didn't even have an SEC, at the time. So I mean, like I said, with all due respect to Dr. Beckett, um, personally, there shouldn't be no employee. There shouldn't be any insider, shenanigans going on. There shouldn't be any friends of a friend of a friend of a friend bidding on those items. It just is wrong. And it look, oh, folks, overall it hurts the hobby. Okay, it drives people away. It just disintegrates their confidence in the whole bidding system and in the hobby, and it's just not good. Michelle, any comments on that? All right, let's get into this pack and then we'll roll on here. Yasa Mercedes, Andres Mesa, excuse me, Simon Juan, Luis Rodriguez, Jesus Baez, Jackson Holiday,
There you go.
Forelli Encarnacion, Colby Thomas, and finally Braylon Bishop. So not much in that one. However, we do have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 numbered cards. So that's not a bad start, ladies and gentlemen. That's not a bad start at all. And we still got 2 more to go. So hopefully we'll get lucky. We'll get more lucky. Anyway,
Our lucky streak will continue. That's what we're hoping for.
yeah. I mean, like it's always nice to get, those are like these MJ Holdings products. It's always hit or miss. Sometimes you get lucky. Sometimes you hit a couple of good packs. Oftentimes you don't. And like I said, our investment is your gain here. So, if you're interested, and like I said, put a comment in, and we'll pick one person out and send them all out to you.
So one person gets all.
One person is going to get all these because there's only 16 packs, and some of these packs are only 4 cards per pack, and so on. So, all right. So now we turn our attention to our on the docket section, and maybe some of you guys have been waiting for this, but it's something that we think is important, and I think I've been pretty vocal about monopolies in the hobby, so to speak, and I believe that Fanatics is one of them, and so we're going to go over um, the first part of our series here and document the story behind Fanatics, where they're going, and where we think they'll end up. So let's see here. Let me just let's get things rolling here. Oh, hang on a second.
And you may not hear a whole lot from me, folks, because I'm not that up on the facts, but I think you're going to like the way that Jim put the facts together here.
All right,
I think
let's
it's going to be
go back.
pretty concise. You can be able to read it, go back.
Yeah, I'm just going to set this up for 1 second here. I've got a PowerPoint presentation that we're going to roll at you here in just 1 second. So bear with me. All right, let's get this rolling here. Okay. All right. All right. So we're going to transition here, and you can see the opening slide of Michael Rubin. And I just want to give everybody a background on Michael Rubin and how what his part to play in this whole part of this series is, and he's always been surrounded into the sports area, but his claim to fame in his early days comes from he was in the ski business. That's how he got started, and then later on in the apparel business, and then we sort of graduate to this section here where, excuse me, Ruben is the founder of CEO of Fanatics, and it's a digital sports platform that consists of several businesses, including licensed sports merchandise, trading cards, and collectibles, sports betting, and iGaming, special events, and live commerce. And it just goes on to say he's the board member of Rue Gilt Group, and which includes Rue Lala and so on. And in 2011, he became a partner of the Philadelphia 76ers and the New Jersey Devils hockey team. And he sold his stake um, in Harry Blitzer Sports and Entertainment, the holding company of both, to focus on the expansion of Fanatics. And he's a co-chair of Reform Alliance, which is a criminal justice reform organization that he launched in January 2019. And just goes on to say that he's also associated with Jay-Z, Meek Mill, Robert Kraft, Daniel Loeb, among others. So there's your background on Michael Rubin. And, just to let everybody know, I mean, Michael Rubin has been he was in his early years, he was looking to create his own card brand, but he saw the opportunities to kind of cash in on some of these other card companies, and that's exactly what he did. Now, if you're looking at Fanatics business segments here, currently, they have Fanatics Commerce, which is the core business of Fanatics, focusing on design and manufacturing licensed sports merchandise, including jerseys, hats, and collectibles. They also have lids, which is part of that commerce. They have Fanatics Collectibles, specializing in trading cards, sports memorabilia, and other digital assets. This segment is seeing significant growth, particularly after the acquisition of Topps. We're going to get into that in just a couple of minutes. And then you also have the Fanatics Betting and Gaming, offering an online and retail sports betting and online casino real money wagering platform. This segment is part of Fanatics' expansion into the gaming space. Now, one thing you want to pay attention to, and one thing I always like to do when I'm interested and I'm following someone around and I'm a little suspicious on what they might be up to, I like to follow the money. And as you can see here in this slide, Fanatics did a number of fundraising ventures over from 2012 all the way to 2022. And I want you to pay particular attention to not only the money, but also the partners: Bank of America, Insight Partners, Alibaba Group, Silver Lake, SoftBank, Fidelity, Thrive Capital. So again, Blackstone, all of these. This is a combination of institutional funding, fundraising, also You've got venture capitalists, private equity. All of these companies have invested into the Fanatics dream, the Fanatics company as a whole, the Fanatics Holdings. And so a lot of this money that you see right here, a lot of this investment capital that was raised, was used to, will be used further down the line to purchase acquisitions. And that's where we come to our next slide, which is how Fanatics purchases Tops and how the deal went down. And I like to call this a thief in the night because I think this was a really a backhanded deal with the way this whole thing went down. Now, Tops at the time had the license, the agreement from Major League Baseball and the Players Association, along with Panini, and then Panini also had their licensing agreements with the NFL and the NBA and the Players Associations as well. Now, Rubin approached MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred and Tony Clark, and Tony's the executive director of the Players Union, and he proposed a new business model for the trading card industry. This guy didn't even bring a pitch deck, folks, in the first meeting. Okay, and according to a person with knowledge of negotiations, uh, who really didn't want to be identified and asked not to be named, Rubin told them that their products sucked, that the card makers didn't advertise them, and that the league got paid only on the first sale. Now, Fanatics said they would cut out the middlemen, card distributors who bought from the manufacturers, marked up the goods, and resold them to hobby shops. That's about 80% of the market. That 80% of the market ran through. And by selling direct, the league's players would make more on the initial sales of cards, and the shops would pay lower prices. And then came the kicker. Rubin would offer the MLB the chance to make money off of resold cards through live stream sales and auction marketplace. Now, I would I would like to know how they were going to keep track of that, or if that ever came to be, because it seems to me like if you bought whether it was a pack or whether it was a hanger box or whether it was a just a regular old card. I mean, how do you justify what they would pay, the Major League Players Association or Major League Baseball for that matter? I'm a little perplexed on that. I'm not quite sure what's going on there. But anyway, in August 2021, one day before Topps was to gain approval of its SPAC merger, the Major League Players Union sent an internal memo informing members that Fanatics, not Tops, would be the exclusive licensee for baseball cards starting in 225. Now, Michael Eisner, who is the CEO of Disney, um, was livid. He wasn't given an indication by the baseball contract that the baseball contract was at risk, and learned about the decision through media, according to people with knowledge of the matter, which sounds pretty down and dirty to me. I mean, I'm just thinking this out, but as we uh, as we get into this, it really does look pretty bad. Anyway, Tops no longer had a critical partner because they were going to go public, and Eisner was ridiculed in the New York Post, and Michael Eisner was caught looking in the MLB strikeout. His flagship baseball card business was doomed. He scrapped his company's Wall Street debut instead approached Rubin, selling him the Topps card business outright for about $500 million. And I'm a little surprised in Eisner's comments. He appeared on CNBC and left no choice but to show respect. I think Fanatics did an excellent job getting the licenses. He said it was a surprise and a shock.
There's the honesty.
There, yeah, that's the honesty, all right. And I just I just feel like from Eisner's perspective, I think MLB, Major League Baseball, and the Players Union owed him the right to, let's say,
Counter.
well, have a reasonable counter offer, and then to show some loyalty to to Michael Eisner, to Topps as a card company, and so on. And I just find it, I just find it, I
I
just find
find
it,
it sad.
yeah, I just find it interesting that um, that he basically got railroaded. And I just feel like there's just so much wrong with that. Um, we'll get back to that in a second. I just want to talk with Michelle on this because I feel like if you're in business with a company and you've been partners with this company for a long time or a partner with a long time, whether it's MLB or whether it's Joe's Sandwich Shop down the road, there should be I would say a lockstep type of agreement with you and that other person that they're given the first opportunity. And if, let's say, Tops decides at that point in time that they say, well, we don't really want the product anymore, we you know open it up to everybody else. Okay, I can understand that. But here you got a guy in Michael Rubin, and you know I consider Michael Rubin, and this is just me, this is my personal opinion, I think he's more of a cutthroat businessman. I don't believe that he's interested in doing things the right way. I just think that he was looking for an opening. He found one. Whether everything he gave Tops and the Major League Players Association at the time was accurate, that remains to be seen. Uh, but he did overpay for the licenses, which was like 10 times more than any previous agreement. And unfortunately, for I think, let's say, Disney and Tops at the time, I don't think they were interested in paying 10 times what they had been for the licenses for that product. Now, what I will say here is that sure, Fanatics went on a limb and they decided that okay, we're going to go all in. We feel like we can really make money on this deal, so we're going to offer, a really but we want exclusive rights, right? We're going to give them a real good offer, but we want exclusive rights and no competition here. So basically, that's about what it amounted to. And I just feel like, from Ruben's perspective, I mean, he could have eventually, uh, how do I say this? He could have eventually maybe come to, let's say, Disney and Tops and said, "Hey, let's work together. Let's see if we can get something done." And eventually, maybe there would have been this sort of a uh, agreement down the road. I don't know if that was ever going to happen, but because Disney was getting ready to take them public. And I just don't like the way the whole thing went down. It was like it's a backdoor deal. It's a little out of the line. And Ruben's been known to do that. Um, and he's no look. He's not a guy that that you look at and say, oh man, that's how I want to. That's how I want to be remembered, or how I want to run my business, and so on.
It takes all kinds, though. It takes all kinds. I mean, some people are people are wired differently. And he's one that is wired to. He's laser focused on what he wants to get done, what he wants to do. He wants to make money. This is how I'm going to do it. And he's not concerned with the little guy that he might step over or step on, or not even the little guy, but the people that he should have gone through, in my opinion, should have gone through and just given a little bit more deference and, respect. I mean, Tops has been around for a long, long time. And
Since '51.
he just wanted to just railroad them and just, okay, that's a great product. Let's dump on them to make them think that they need a new direction. When, yeah, could they have used some updated designs? Maybe, sure, but I don't know. I just think he was a little heavy-handed, um, and shady in how he did it, and it wasn't respectful. But that's part of being a business person in the new age now. It just seems like it's more about me. How can I get what I want, and less about the art of. I almost said the art of the deal. But that's part of the problem, isn't it? Isn't it? That's part of the problem.
It reminds me
Is
a little bit of Wolf of Wall Street,
right.
that type of thing
Yeah.
where it's cutthroat. It's,
Yeah.
I'll stab you in the back
And
if I have a
it's
chance. And
but that's how some people are wired.
right,
And me personally, I would want to be known as someone who always treated people fairly, gave them, you know, gave them a chance,
ample respect.
and yeah, and handle things respectfully. But there are people, we know way too many at the top of a lot of different arenas right now, that they don't care about what their moral reputation is. They just want to get things done to make them look better. And that seems to be more the Reuben take on this, rather than being known as a good businessman who really enjoyed the business and respected the business and the people that really started it as Tops. I mean, it's all I can remember was Tops.
Right,
I mean, there's all kinds of different. I mean, but Tops was
right,
the big gun.
right.
You know,
In the early '50s, it was Tops and Bowman,
Tops, Bowman,
and
and
then
then
Tops bought
Fleer.
out Bowman, and then Fleer later on, right?
Yeah,
And
but
you,
Tops was the big gun.
right. Oh, of course. Well, look, I mean, and I've heard people say, and I'll go back to Dr. Beckett again. He said that, well, there was a really good competition between Bowman, like 53, 54, 55, right? But the stakes were a little different back then because Bowman had some of the players signed to contracts. Tops had others. So that was kind of a weird. I remember reading a couple of articles on that, and Bowman had gone out and signed a bunch of the major league players. So they had those guys in their sets, right? And then Tops had maybe some of the same guys, but not all of the same guys, right? They were different.
Yeah.
They were different on both sides. But Dr. Beckett, I want to recall, said that, well, there was a healthy competition between Bowman and Tops at the time. And then Tops just basically won out, because I think Bowman had run into like financial um, troubles where they just
Mm.
didn't have the resources to really expand on what they had done. So Tops eventually bought out Bowman, and then later on bought out Fleer. But
Dondras.
but yeah, but well, yeah, Donruss just went out after like
Yeah.
80, 80 what, let's see, not 90. I'm trying to think when the hell Donruss went out, but in the 90s, I believe. Anyway,
Early 90s.
yeah. But yeah, the bottom line here is there's an ethical perspective, moral perspective, and I think Ruben violated all those. I don't believe he had. I know what his intent was. His intent was to, he wanted a card company. He was willing to do anything to get it, and because he already had the the apparel side of things. So he figured, hey, if I can get the collectible side of things, great. This will be wonderful. Now I can really expand on that, and it's a one stop shopping type thing, right? So yeah, so that's where he went, and he went in there, and he just did a backdoor deal in the dark of
Yeah.
night, and unfortunately for
Yeah, I
Michael
do.
Eisner and Disney, and they just didn't have anywhere to go. There was no room. They were backed into a corner. So because he had the licenses now coming up in a couple of years, and he had the agreements for both Major League Baseball and the Players Association. I mean, current Disney owner Topps had no choice but to basically sell the company to him at a discount, and that's what they got. They got it for 500 million. So we'll go. Well, let's go back there now and follow the story. And
I just want to interject as he's making this switch over that we do understand that, Bowman couldn't, Bowman, that Ruben couldn't have done that without the permission and the agreement from Major League Baseball and the Players Union. So, Ruben's not the only bad guy here, in my opinion.
right, but
You know,
look, I guess some people might call Michael Rubin a smart guy, a clever guy, thinking outside the
sneaky,
box. Yeah, sneaky,
sly.
sneaky good, whatever,
Yeah.
whatever you want to label him. But I mean, so he came in here and then basically, and right as Tops was getting ready to go to be public, then bam, this happens.
Yeah.
And at the same time this is going on, then this Panini becomes the next victim. So what was going on here was while Ruben had talked to um, the MLB and the Players Association, he was also doing the same thing in the NBA and the NFL and the Players Associations there. And so he went out and he gave them basically the same you know same
Same
bit of lip
pitch.
service, right? Same
Same sales pitch.
same sales pitch, right? And he said, and Panini was thinking about doing the same thing, and it basically just went on to say when the pandemic trading card frenzy hit, the company's executive had the same instinct as Eisner. It was time to cash in. For months, Panini held discussions with Slam Corp, which is a SPAC backed by baseball legend Alex Rodriguez, on the arrangement that the company would go public at a $3 billion valuation, more than twice that of Topps. But 2 weeks after the MLB deal with Fanatics blindsided Eisner's company, Salustro learned that he had been Rubened too. And as it turned out, the time that Ruben had approached MLB, he also engaged with the National Basketball Association and National Football League about their trading card businesses and wooed them as well, locking in exclusive contracts in basketball and football after they expired with Panini in 25 and 26, respectively.
Yeah.
So just like Eisner, Salustro and his senior managers found out through the press that they lose the two biggest franchises. That's the other thing. Tops didn't like go to, I mean, Major League Baseball didn't go to Eisner and said, "Oh, by the way, we want to give you a heads up." They didn't even tell him. He had to find out in the news. So that's really, really bad. That's bad on Major League Baseball's part, as far as
That's
I'm
what I'm
concerned.
saying.
Yeah, it's just bad.
Ruben's not the only
Right,
bad guy here.
right. And so in the NBA, they agreed to a 10-year deal with Fanatics, and the NFL 20-year deal. And so yeah, so it really is that bad. And
Hungry, hungry hippo.
yeah,
Grab, grab, grab.
right. And so in less than 5 months, Ruben had pulled off what amounted to a multi-sport licensing coup d'etat. Right. Even so, the Fanatics chief executive officer didn't want to wait till for the ice cube to melt. He wanted the contracts to kick in immediately, and so he went out and he tried to make a deal with Panini. He thought he had a deal. Panini thought they had a deal. After a series of meetings, the two sides struck a deal. Fanatics would pay more than $2 billion to buy out the remainder of Panini's contracts, and then so they thought that was all set. But then, right out of the blue, Ruben pulled out in January 2023 and decided to. Panini filed an federal antitrust lawsuit in Florida, And Ruben responded 4 days later with a suit of his own. But here's the other thing about Ruben, right? Now he knew that Panini was using this GC Packaging LLC to make all their cards. He went and he bought a controlling stake in that company and kicked them to the curb, so he wouldn't let them use that facility anymore. I mean, talk about a guy that's just got an axe to grind. It's like, holy cow, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can see, Michelle, it's just this is just from from uh, from one hand to another here. This is getting worse and worse all the time. You can see how this guy operates. Just one dagger throw after another. First he goes after Tops, then he goes after Panini, so he gets MLB, NBA, NFL. Then he goes after the packaging company. Says, "Oh, okay, you want I want to pull out a deal because I don't think I think I can get it cheaper. So I'm just going to go instead buy a controlling stake in the company that makes your cards. So you can't make them anymore. You got to go find somebody else, right? What's up with that?"
Hungry, hungry hippo. More, more, more. How much more do you need? You know, it's ridiculous. How much? How
It is
much more?
ridiculous. It is ridiculous.
How much more does one person need?
It's bad.
It's just I don't get that. I'll never get that.
Right. I mean, it really is. It really is that sad, and it really is. Unfortunately,
Anyway, moving along.
it just yeah. I
'Cause
I just keep shaking my head because
Yeah.
I just can't believe that this guy just does that type of stuff.
Well, it's who he is.
Oh
It's who
yeah,
he is.
yeah. But I mean, I like I said, I was
It's
just when I read this, I was basically dumbfounded by the whole thing because I just felt like there was a to some degree I thought there was a I don't know some sort of a gentleman's agreement here that there was going to be um, where both were interested in the collectibles side of things that there might be some agreement, but apparently there just wasn't. And look, what I would say is I think Fanatics was prepared, even if they didn't get the contracts, right? Even if they didn't weren't able to get, let's say Tops is on the contract, and then they put out the bid for the following 5 years or 10 years or whatever, that you know, I think Tops would have just come back. I mean, Fanatics would have just come back and like outbid anybody at the end of that contract. So anyway, um, so let's get to the next slide. Okay.
good to be king.
It's good to be king. Yes, it is. And as you can see here, uh, Mr. Rubin is now figured out everything he wants to do. And now he's ready to 10x the hobby. And, you've got massive growth ambition. Ruben says he wants to grow the sports card hobby 10% or even 20 times what it's making right now, turning it into a cultural phenomenon rather than a niche collector's market. And then he's introduced Fanatics Fest in 2024. We all know about that. It's a big, a bunch of all the athletes and all the lights, cameras, and action going on there, and it's a lot of hot air as far as I'm concerned. But the distribution strategy, Ruben addressed concerns about breakers dominating the market. He explained that Fanatics allocates 20% to retail, 40% to hobby shops, and 40% to breakers, aiming to balance access for casual fans and serious collectors. And then the celebrity and athlete integration events often feature stars like Tom Brady, Lewis Hamilton, Travis Scott, helping to attract new audiences who might not otherwise engage with trading cards. And again, I mean, look, I've been going. I haven't gone to shows in a while. Michelle hasn't gone to shows in a while, but we went, And even before Mr. Rubin came around, there was plenty of athletes around at shows, and we met all kinds of guys, all kinds of athletes from baseball to football to hockey to basketball. We met many athletes, got many autographs. So what he's doing here with this celebrity and athlete integration and Fanatics Fest is nothing new. These has been going on for the last like at least. I mean, God, when I was going to shows in the '80s, there were athletes there. So this is nothing new here. Okay, it's just in his mind he thinks he can do it better. So yeah, so there's that. But there's also things to consider, and one of them is some of them are here. And it's Houston, we have a problem. So there are a number of factors at work here. First, increased production numbers throughout the Topps product lines. Continued price increases throughout the entire suite of products driven mainly by breakers. A lack of innovation from product to product, basically the ability to think outside the box. Little or no recognition of their most important revenue driver, the average collector. Dum dums. Hey, dum dum. Hello, Michael. Michael Rubin, are you listening to me? These are your most important people right here. The average collectors. Okay?
Yeah,
Start
that's
start using start using your head. That's that lump 3 feet above your ass. Come on. Stop it. God damn. I mean, look, folks, if you wanna be successful in the hobby, you have to do all the little things right, okay? And giving 40% of your product to your breakers is not the right way to do this, okay? If the breakers really want that product bad enough, go out and get it on a secondary market. Go out and buy it. Go out and buy it from Blowout Cards. Go out and buy it from David Adams or wherever you like. I don't know, from Fanatics itself. Get in the queue. See if you can get a case of basketball or a case of baseball, whatever you want, whatever product you want. But you know, I think Rubin's lost his way here, and I think the marketing team for Tops has lost their way, Fanatics, because look, guys, price matters here, okay, and the amount of people that you reach matters. Yes, it matters, okay, and if you're gonna if you're gonna sell a product, any product, you want to reach the biggest customer base you can have out there. The more people you reach, the more product potentially you can sell, and the more successful you will become. What Fanatics is doing right now, in my opinion, is they're going backwards. They're raising their product prices. They're giving more product to the breakers, and the breakers and the secondary markets see the secondary markets see what the breakers are doing, and they raise their prices even more. So what started out as, let's say, $20 um, blaster box, now in basketball and Topps Chrome basketball update, I guess, is now $50. And look, I don't know if any of you have been keeping score here, but this economy is not as good as it used to be, and there are a lot of people that are struggling. So just keep that in mind as we go through these next couple of slides. So let's get back there. All right. So we're coming here, blah blah blah. Showed you that. Now let's get to our next slide. And other factors at work when you're dealing with a company that's becoming a monopoly, right? Elimination of competition within the targeted sectors. So, if there's any competition around or you want to be the only game in town, you eliminate all of your competition. Panini, Tops when they were controlled by Disney. Anybody else, if even apparel makers, you just go out there, you buy the companies up, you get the exclusive licensing agreements. No one else can get in the market, but it gives you total control, and that's where the problems are starting. Reduce it's reducing the overall return on investment by mass producing product lines, right? We're seeing, just look at Topps 2023 Series 1. There was over 1 million cards produced for each player, right? And because that happens, now you're seeing less hits in each pack, in each box, in each case. Okay. And there's also, because you're a monopoly, because you don't have to really feel like you have to go, hardcore, trying to think outside the box, come up with different design modes, come up with different ideas to make your product more successful, to make it more inviting, to make it more attractive. You should be having more focus, not less focus. Okay. But Top seems to think now that, okay, we own everything, so we don't really have to do anything. So less focus on the overall design and implementation process. And then moving one slide down, now we get to the problems. Now the problems start to creep up, right? They're mass producing products. The breakers are driving up the cost for the average collector, whether it's retail or hobby. And now Tops is starting to realize, hey, we got a problem here. We got a problem. We got a real problem. We need to figure out how we can keep making money, but not go further into debt. And so Fitch downgraded Fanatics. This is back in 2023, and basically they dropped them down to a B plus, right, from BB minus. And basically, this has everything to do with, you know, the EBITDA. It's negative before returning to positive territory, driven primarily by challenges in the commerce segment and investments in FHI's various subsidiaries, leading leverage being sustained at higher levels than previously expected. In other words, they're more in debt than what they were previously. So that as you start to become more leveraged on on a monthly, yearly basis, as that starts to increase, obviously what you see here is a downgrade in your overall rating. Okay, and let's get a little further down the line, and then so what we see here is that Michael Rubin, shortly after this, well, not quite. Let's see, let's see, let's see, 23. Yeah, about 6 months later, the story shows up in the New York Post, saying that he's looking to sell up to $1 billion worth of his stake in his sports merchandising empire. And he claims it's not true. Well, a spokesman for him basically said um, it's completely untrue. Revenues are up 17% to date and are expected to be 8 billion this year, the rep told the Post. He added that earnings will be even better in 2025. The spokesman also denied that a stock sale was in the works. Micah was not looking to sell any shares in his company. It's completely wrong, the rep told the Post. Now, I would just ask anybody out there, when you start to see bad news, when you start to see things like Fitch downgrading, and Fitch wasn't the only one that was downgrading their company, by the way. It was Moody's, and I think it was SGB was also downgrading that company. So there were several ratings companies that were showing from the information that Fanatics gave them that their their debt ratio was rising, and that was a real problem, and that's why they dropped the ratings on Fanatics. Okay, and then you see Ruben. Well, he says it isn't true, but look, where there's smoke, there's fire, ladies and gentlemen. And I would just say to anybody out there, if you see a ratings company dropping the rating on your company, and then you see a guy out there, the CEO, selling a rumored selling shares of his company, or up to 1 billion shares of his company, $1 billion of shares, then I would say, if it's not true, then if there's nothing to worry about, then why would you keep going down this road and want to sell, want to sell more of your shares, let's say. And usually Usually they do that as the reasoning behind that is they'll just decide, well, we need to prop up the company, we need to reduce debt, we need to become more solvent, we need to get our um, our assets in order, basically. So I would just say here, where there's smoke, there's fire. You're already starting to see the first cracks in the armor. We get back to the slides and then roll down the line. We got a few more to go here, so hang with us. Um, then this shows up, and this is Friday, August 25th, 9:06 a.m. And it says Fitch Ratings has withdrawn the long-term issuer default ratings of Fanatics Holdings and its subsidiaries, Fanatics Collectibles Intermediate Holdco Company, Inc. Company. Fitch has also withdrawn the ratings collectibles senior secured credit facilities, including its senior secured revolving credit facility and senior secured term loans. Fitch is withdrawing the rating since the company has repaid the term loan at collectibles and has chosen to stop participating in the ratings process. Therefore, Fitch will no longer have sufficient information to maintain the ratings. Fitch will also no longer provide ratings or analytical coverage for Fanatics Holdings and its subsidiaries. Wow, imagine that. Imagine that. So,
Cloaking device.
yeah, right. So, I don't know
Nothing
if
to see here, folks.
yeah, nothing to
That's why
see
you
here.
can't see anything.
Don't worry about it. Everything's good. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't
Nothing to see here.
know what to show you, but let me
Yeah.
just get that back for a second here. Let's get that back so you can just take one more. Okay, yeah, one more close look at that. And as you can see right there, I mean, it's so bad. It's just, it's, I'm lying, but I don't want you to look over here because there's nothing to see over here. Look way over there, way over. Look way over there, folks, way over there. All right. I mean, come on. So, all right. So what we've got here is we've got a company that has taken over Major League Baseball, made agreements with the players associations from Major League Baseball, National Basketball Association, and the
NFL.
NFL, right? They've also made agreements with all of the franchise leagues, right? The NFL, Major League Baseball, and the NBA. Okay, so they've got them all locked up. Then they've gone and they basically tried to, kneecap Panini, right? Because they already kneecapped Fanatics. I mean, well, Tops through 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 Disney's holdings. And now you got a guy saying, a spokesman saying, after the first downgrade started, that no, Michael wasn't trying to. I like how he said that, Michael. Michael wasn't trying to sell any shares here. Well, I'm here to tell you, folks, it's got to be true. Okay, if you saw that second, if no company withdraws their rating from the ratings program unless they got something to hide. Now, just consider that there are many private equity companies that also may have loaned that you will never hear about because you can't. There's no legal um, stand to show that information, right? So there could be any private equity company out there that Tops or Fanatics had borrowed money from that physically you or I will never find out about. But we know for sure that there's something going on because they pulled out of the ratings part of this. So my guess is that they're in more trouble than what they're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I'm guessing they're way more leveraged than they want to be. And they just repaid that one loan. And they might have, while paying that loan off, might have had to secure more leverage um, that maybe it's at a lower interest rate. I have no idea, and I don't think anybody else knows except for Michael Rubin and the people on the board. But I
He's
can tell
throwing the
you,
cloak up.
yeah, but I can tell you, there's something going on there, and it's
Yeah.
not good. So now we get back to the slides, and we're gonna transition back, and we're just gonna swing over here and get down. And I just want to for everybody to take a look at this, because as of 2023, Michael Rubin's net worth was about 11.4 billion to 11.5 billion, and before that, it was more like 12 billion or 12.5 billion. Now, courtesy of Forbes, we can see that his real wealth value is $9.6 billion. Still a very tidy sum, I might add. However, it is not 12 billion or 13 billion or 11 billion or 11.5 billion. It's 9.6 billion. So I would just remind everybody out there that while he's smiling at you, he's stabbing you in the back. But guess what? The heat is on, ladies and gentlemen. The heat is on. That's why I think you're seeing these big increases in the prices of. I don't think this has anything to do with Panini. I really don't. Although Panini could basically charge anything they wanted, or they were trying to anyway. But they had good products, while they had the licenses. And if people wanted to pay for them, well, that was up to that particular person. But Panini also had a bunch of basketball and football products that were evenly priced. So I just think I think it's a big mistake for Tops that have, when you're talking about $700 for a jumbo box, when you're talking about $370 for a hobby box, we're just talking that's just nonsensical, and it doesn't make sense. It doesn't help the collectors. It, the breakers are able to buy some because they can spread it out through all of their break cycles and so on. But yeah, so we're seeing some real cracks in the armor here. Now, underlying economic conditions that will also have an impact. A worsening unemployment rate and overall reduction of the workforce, right? You're seeing the unemployment rate jump. It's at 4.4 right now. It's almost 4.5 the last I heard from some of the guys on Wall Street. An industry-wide softening of the U.S. GDP along with growing recession fears. Don't be fooled by that last GDP report, because everybody stocked up on all their items coming from foreign lands before the recession, before the tariffs really kicked in. So you're going to see a worsening GDP. It's already slowing down, and if you take away all of the AI data center activity where they're building and they're constructing all these AI data centers, the U.S. GDP would have grown a total of 0.1%. Yeah, folks, 0.1%. So essentially a flat economy. Now, an evaporation of personal discretionary income for the middle class and average collector, a rising inflation rate that makes everyday purchases more expensive. So you can see where we're going here. Less money for the average person, higher prices for basically everything you buy, a slowing GDP in the U.S., an overall reduction in the workforce, and then you got the implementation and constantly changing global tariffs that suffocate small and large businesses. So those businesses are cutting back, right? You've got the small business companies that just can't compete, right? Finally, well, a growing U.S. household debt that's currently at $18.5 trillion. And finally, a massive and growing U.S. national debt, which is currently at $38.1 trillion. Now, I would say one more thing about the household debt. That's the total U.S. household debt. That is total U.S. household mortgage debt, credit card debt, auto loan debt, personal debt, school loan debt, you name it. That's going up every single month. Every single month. And all of those factors, the slowing of the economy, the heavily leveraged company of Fanatics, the lowering of the GDP, the unemployment rate rising, the inflation, you name it. All of these factors are going to play in to what's going on right now and going forward. So I can't see how Fanatics can keep this up for a whole lot longer and hope to survive in the sports car collectibles market. Even though they have all the licenses, it doesn't mean that they can't fail. Okay. And it doesn't mean that they can't go belly up on their payments that they're supposed to make to all of these players unions and all of these franchises that they're locked into for 10 or 15 or 20 years. And that's where that's where we're at right now. This is a real problem. And I can't imagine that Michael Rubin is sitting there at night saying, "Oh, everything's just going wonderful. I can't wait for tomorrow to get here because I'm gonna, fill my pockets with more cash." I don't think that's got anything to do with it here. I think Michael Rubin and the marketing and the top executives at Fanatics are sweating their ass off. They're they're sweating their ass off. They know they're in trouble, and I think it's only going to get worse for them. Now let's get back to the slides just for 1 second. We'll transition back so we can just finish up these last couple of slides, which is my advice for the man. Okay, focus on the core products, mainly Topps flagship, Heritage, Archives, and Chrome. There's something to be said for keeping it simple. And if you try to get too crazy on your product, on your product core, and you instead of having 4 or 5 products, you have like 80 different products. Well, all I can say to that is that if you're going to do that, then you're stretching yourself pretty thin. And I would advise Topps to go back and really concentrate on their flagship, their Heritage, Archives, and Chrome. So those are the 4 big ones to me. These high end ones like uh, whether it's museum collection or finest or any of those high end definitive. I just think that's yeah, it's the price points are high. You don't get many cards. You have limited people that are interested in them, and I just don't think it's a real good sales pitch to the regular customer, low end customer, or middle of the road customer like we have in this collectibles um, area. So that's one. Let's spend more time zeroing in on design, and innovation ideas that create attraction. Don't just call it good. Think outside the box. I've always said that if we have people um, that have an interest in the sport, that love the sport, that enjoy the sport, that enjoy collecting, those people in high places are going to have a much more direct impact on the product than someone who is just a CEO who's maybe been a CEO of 8 different companies before Fanatics, who doesn't understand what the products, how the products connect with the core collector. And I think that if I were in charge of the company, I would have way more people that have way more knowledge of the history of Topps, number one, and also the history of the products that Topps has produced, and come up with a number of ways to make that product attractive, to make it collectible, to make people want to go out and buy it, and have the right price point to be able to afford it. And then I also said, tap into all of your available resources when it comes to product creation. Be mindful of product price points and the stigma they create. And that couldn't be further. I mean, you got to understand where your customers are. And right now, they're not at $370 a box or $700 a box. Cater less to the breakers and more to the core collector. And finally, stick to what you're good at, stupid. The past is the present. And I would just say that, I get back to the focusing on the core products. If you focus on the core products and you stick to those products and you really focus on those products, you can make a real difference. You can get a real focus there and really create an attraction and a fever pitch for those products. And unfortunately, I just don't think Topps has done any of that. I think, and once in a while, in my opinion, once in a while they come up with a good idea. They 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 put it into a product. It comes out great. People love it. Like let's see, what's the one in the home field advantage? I like those cards. They're nice. It was a nice idea. Someone came up with a good idea. Someone thought outside the box. But I would say that if you, from a design and marketing perspective, you should always be looking to kind of connect with the past at all the time, because the vintage products from Tops have been really, really good. And I believe that if you sort of encompass a little bit of that old feel into the new feel, you can have a nice balance. And so I would highly encourage them to do that.
I like the cards personally that had an old time player with, I don't remember the name of what type they were, but they had the old time player and then a current player or a more timely, more current
Like an insert, you mean?
player. Yeah, those cards that had like Yaz with,
Oh, like
you know
then and now and
yeah, the then and now. There we go. Thank you.
the then and
That's
nows, right?
Yeah,
The
I like
heritage,
those. That I liked that collection because it tied the past to the present, and I think that targets two different parts of the collector, you
right?
know,
It ties vintage
population.
in with
Yeah,
modern a little
yeah,
bit, yeah.
yeah.
Well,
Like, and
and
that was a good, in my opinion, that was a good. That's hitting two different sets of populations, and that's going to make it more attractive,
sure, yep.
and so
Yeah, I mean, look, there are a number of inserts you can go back through and let's say from like, we're talking modern stuff now. Let's say from even I don't know 2005 or so, something like that, when they started to put a lot more inserts into the sets. Um, they did come up with a lot of different inserts, but remember, Fanatics has only had control of Tops for let's say about what they bought the company from Top, so let's say about really 3 years, right? Going on there, getting into their fourth year. So realistically, yeah, a lot of the employees that were at Tops came over to work for Fanatics. But again, I just get back to you need people that have been in the hobby for a long time to give advice to these design teams. Because if you got a 20 something, look, this is no knock on 20 somethings, all right? But if you have somebody who's a 20 something and you also have somebody who's been around the hobby for let's say 6 decades or 7 decades or something like that or 5 decades, those guys are going to have more of a feel for if you do it like a cross cut of all these different collectors from that time period, you'll find out what most of these guys really liked about the products. And a lot of them will agree on a number of different things, right? I mean, but a lot of the same things, but there'll be a few outliers in there. But most of the stuff, if there was one good thing about a set that they liked, or that everybody seemed to like, they'll tell you about it every single time. And I just believe that it is important to always be thinking outside the box, to always be trying to strive to that next level of execution, that next level of wow, that next level of hey, wow, this is great, this insert's wonderful, or the design of the cards are great. I mean, I know a lot of people have a connection to certain years, like I know I do from the early 70s, late 60s, early 70s when I was collecting cards. And I can tell you that most of those sets were really great and they were always different. You see a lot of, I would say, similar types cards from Tops. I just don't think I don't think the they're reaching out far enough. I just don't believe that. And I think they can do way, way better. But that's why you need experienced people from the hobby in there talking to Tops. So, folks, we're going to leave that we're just gonna leave that right there. But I wanted to, like I said, this is part one, so I hope you enjoyed that part of it. We'll be getting to the other parts down the road, but I thought Fanatics, you got to start at the top. So you start at the top, you look where a company has gone and a company is going. You point out the good things and or the bad things. And right now, I think there's a lot more bad than there is good with Fanatics. I think Fanatics can right the ship, but they have to have someone up at the top who really. And one thing I'll say about Ruben too is, he's not a collector. He's not a collector. He doesn't like collecting cards. He has no interest in collecting cards. How can you be a good CEO of a card collecting company or a card making company if you don't really care about the cards, right? So I think that's hard to justify. Anyway, part two will be coming down the road. Thanks for listening. Let's get on to our final segment of these last two uh, RJ Holdings. If I can get it open, it's a little tough here. Got the old Shohei here. Move my mic over a little bit. There we go. That's better. Yeah, I mean, I'm really a little disappointed with the way Ruben's run this company so far.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, really.
You should probably let people know.
Yeah. Well, guess what? I think I just did.
Yeah, I think so.
All right, here we go. First card in there. There's
Mickey.
the Mick 65 reprint.
The Mick.
Yep, 1965, right there, folks. It's the 70th anniversary. 70th anniversary of Tops. It's a good one. And then our packs are, first one out of the box is Topps Chrome 2021, and we've seen this before. Our second pack is 2023 Series 1, and last but not least, oh no, we got two more packs here, excuse me. We got, let's see, Topps First Edition 2022 series and a Bowman Edition, First Edition, 2023. So we got two hobby packs there. That's pretty good. Just put this back in here, and we'll get around to opening. All right, let's put the Mickey over here. Mickey, you're so fine. You're so fine, you blow my mind. Hey, Mickey. Okay. I gotta move this over a little bit here. Give myself a little room. All right, let's start with the 2023. Folks, thanks for hanging with us. We appreciate it. Hopefully we can end on some solid ground here. Get a couple more numbered cards, or maybe an autograph, or who knows, a relic. Ozzy Albies. Jesse Winker. Caleb Killian. Los Angeles Dodgers. And here we go. What we got here? We got Ketel Marte. Brian Hayes. And Davis Martin. Christian Yelich. Reese Hoskins. And we got a retail blue. Alex Bohm. Not numbered. We'll take that though. Always. And Stars of MLB, Bobby Witt Jr., great player. And there's Gunnar Henderson rookie. We'll set that aside. And Dean Kramer. Julio Rodriguez, Alex Rodriguez. A-Rod. Evan Lee. Rafael Iglesias. So not much there. Except for the Gunnar Henderson, which, as we noted earlier, was over 1 million of them printed. All right,
let's talk about making something worth less.
Right, pennies on the dollar, basically. All right, let's see what we have in this Chrome Platinum pack. And we got David Bodie. Whoa, what's going on here? David Bodie, Derek Jeter, Kevin Kiermaier. Yeah, Tom Terrific. All base cards, so not much there. All right, which one do we do next? Let's do the do the Bowman first edition. Why not? See what we can find. I was hoping to get like a fat pack or something. I haven't got one yet. I've seen a lot of them come out of here. All right, what else we got here? Let's see. Jesus Baez. Looks like got a blue in there. Jackson Holiday, first edition. First Bowman, I mean. First edition Bowman, whatever. Ellie De La Cruz. That's a good one. Take that. Drew Jones. Another one. Trey Sweeney. Nelson Rada. And Frederick Benscombe.
Oh,
I guess.
can never say that right.
Benscombe, maybe. I don't know. I think that's what it is. Benscombe? Yeah. Benscombe. Or Benscombe. I don't know. I'm a little confused on that name. He hasn't made it to the major leagues yet, I can tell you that. Jason Dominguez, Jace Young, Marco Luciano. All right. And we've got first edition 2022. Let's see what this is going to give us. Usually you get numbered cards out of these, but oh, yeah, there's a numbered card, I think, coming up. Cal Raleigh. That's
big dumper.
Yeah, rookie. Our pal Cal.
Who should have been the MVP.
Yeah, Washington Nationals. Right, he should have been. He was right. You know, he was way, I mean, good stats, except for average. You know, he was great. Home runs. Alec Manoah. Pavin Smith. Josh Naylor. Emmanuel Clase. Mr. In trouble with the gambling community. Not good. And Aaron Judge.
All right.
John Gant. And we have a gold foil, looks like. Let's see. Oakland A's. Chapman, and I'm not sure who that is with him. Find out quick enough. It's who is that? I don't know. It's not numbered though. Thought it was. Oh, no, I guess it's not numbered. I thought it was though. I thought the golds were, but just like a gold foil, I guess. Yeah. Anyway. And then Mitch Haniger. All right. So not much there. We didn't do that well on that one, Michelle. We need a little
Where's our little girl? We need to rub her head.
Yeah, right.
Those of you who have not watched the video with us, we've got a little dog, River. Anytime we wanted some luck, we'd call her over and rub her head.
And here we go on our last one. 56 Mickey Mantle reprint. Oh, knock those over. There's the Mick again. Good shot of him. I saw a lot of these cards that were put into these tins were all banged up, but these have come out pretty good. There's not much of a. They all look like they're in pretty good shape. They were a little more careful when they put them in there this time. Let's see what we got. We got a Bowman first edition right here. Boom. And Topps Update Chrome series 2023. Not a bad one. Oh, look at that. 2024 again. Nice. 2024 update. And Topps 2023 Series 1. We always get Topps 2023 Series 1. It's always the bell cow. All right, so we'll see here. I think we got a good shot at picking up some numbered cards, though. I really do, especially in the 2024 updates. But you never know. We'll see what we get in this one. Okay. Sandy Alcantara. Hate it when they turn these around. Bo Brisky. And Eduardo Escobar. Chris Morel. Turn them around again. Jonathan Daza. And Eric Fetty. Jose Altuve. Antonio Senzatella. Scott Barlow. And a retail blue. Hunter Green. It's good. It's a good guy to get. I mean, he's a hard thrower. He came off Tommy John not that long ago. So he's still finding his way back, just like Sandy Alcantara. Not numbered. Stars of MLB, Wander Franco. And then Jimmy Herget. And New York Mets. Royals. Having a good time. And AL RBI leaders. And welcome shower for Byron Buxton. All right. So nothing on that pack, but I wasn't real hopeful there. This is the one I'm hopeful for right here. Top 2024 update. It's retail, but still a lot of good stuff comes out of retail. Let's just look at the hangers. All right, let's see what we got here. Nate Pearson. Lean on me. Suzuki aids Shota's move. Yasmani Grandal. Wyatt Langford. And Ryan Yarbrough. Eldemaro Vargas. Luis Ariz. Come on, guys. Where are they? Where's the good stuff? Jason Foley. Joel Payamps. Cole Irvin. And we got a blue. It's just a retail blue, though. Eddie Rosario. Yeah. And then we got a mystical Ellie De La Cruz. And an all-star. Vladdy. Base. And finally, O'Neal Cruz. Geez, not much out of that one. Got the retail and the mystical, but not what we were looking for. Hoping for something better than that. All right, let's see what this Chrome update gives us. It's not bad. Let's see what it says 2023. Yeah, so see what we can get for rookies or numbered cards. All right, Robbie Grossman, Seth Lugo, Yuri Perez, Eduardo Julian. Got a fifth one here, and this is what are these? Sepia. Joey Weimer. Yep. Set that aside. Finally, our last pack of the evening. I can open it. Gonna play hardball with me. There we go. Folks, thanks for stopping by. We really appreciate it. And like I said, if you enjoyed the video, come on back and check out some of our other stuff. Roman Anthony, look at that right out of the bat. Take that, Roman Anthony, great Red Sox player. We're Red Sox fans, by the way, in case we didn't tell you. Pedro Ramirez, Khalil Watson, and we got Eric Brown Jr., followed by Moises Ballesteros, Brock Jones, Blaze Jordan, another ex-Red Sox. He got traded off, right? We traded him, I believe. It's a blue. Ariel Almonte, Hector Rodriguez, and our last card is Blake Lubier. So, let's give you a quick recap. It'll be brief and to the point. We'll show you what we got here for interesting cards. Weimer, Sepia, and we got some couple of blues, retail blues. Eddie Rosario, Hunter Green, and we got the Met card, but that's irrelevant pretty much. We got Cal Raleigh rookie, and we got Gunnar Henderson rookie 2023. Another blue, retail blue 2023. Alec Bohm. And then we got a Topps Chrome Hobie Harris. That's numbered to 150. And the creme de la creme here is we've got two nice rip cards. One of Miguel Sano. Then we got a black of Stan Musial, 199, I believe. Right? Is that right? 299. And then the Jose Altuve rip card. So yeah. So those are good ones. So there's something really good could come out of those autographs, as we talked about on the back. So folks, if you're interested in any of this stuff, any of these cards, we're gonna pick one winner out of this, and leave a comment. Just put the word drawing in there, and you will be entered once we get 10 people. If you like what you saw, consider subscribing. Come on back for other videos. Leave us a like, and so on. Maybe hit the notifications button. But we're going to leave it right there. And until we see you next time, adios, so long, auf Wiedersehen, good night.